All right, I'm going to take a second and go over the quizzes that we took yesterday on classifying real numbers. Hope this is helpful for you. So quickly on the right side of the screen, you'll see just a quick refresher of the number system. All numbers are real numbers. Okay, all numbers are real numbers. Real numbers are broken into two groups, irrational and rational. And rational is further broken into integers, whole, and natural. And in blue, I put a little refresher for you. For example, the irrational numbers are like pi and the square root of 2. You know, it has a decimal, it never ends, it never repeats, cannot be written as a fraction. Rational numbers are the fractions and the normal decimals, you know, the ones that end or repeat. And then the integers are the positive and negative whole numbers, and zero, of course. Remember, there's no decimals or fractions in integers. And then finally, we have the whole numbers and the natural numbers. And I think those make perfect sense. So, number one, classify by clicking all that imply. I can see right away that negative 6.5 or 6.75 has a decimal, and it's a normal decimal, ends, therefore it makes it rational. Rational. It would also be real, but that wasn't a choice. Number two, classify numbers by clicking all that apply. The square root of 175. Well, 175 is not a perfect square. Therefore, it's going to be a decimal that never ends and never repeats, making it irrational and real. Number three, classify, again, all that apply. And we're talking about 5 pi. But look, anything times pi is also irrational. Anytime that we multiply an irrational number times another number, unless it happens to be its significant other, meaning like the square root of 2 times the square root of 2, you're going to get an irrational number. So irrational, that one kind of told you. Number four, they're trying to trick you here a little bit, where 30 over 3, it is a fraction, but it can be reduced because 3 goes into 30 10 times. Now the number 10. The 10 is natural, therefore it's also whole and integer and rational and real. Number 5. Again, they're taking this number and they're trying to trick you with it. There's a negative sign out on the outside, which means this is going to be a negative number. Well, what's the square root of 9? It's 3. So now we're trying to classify what is negative 3. Well, that's an integer, and therefore it's also rational. Number 6. Rachel states that negative 5.5 is an integer because it's negative. However, is she correct or not? Well, no, she's not correct. It is negative, but it has a decimal. And remember, our integers don't have decimals. So, no, because integers do not have decimals. Jeremy says that 5.67666 blah, blah, blah is a rational number because it has a decimal, goes on forever with a pattern. But that's not the definition of a rational number. A rational number either ends or repeats. And this one doesn't end and it doesn't repeat. Just because there's a pattern doesn't mean it's repeating. A repeating decimal has to be the exact same thing over and over again. Therefore, this is not a rational number. That makes it irrational because the pattern is not a repeating decimal. It's a pattern, but not a decimal. Now, these last 3 questions here, you have to remember what these A, B, C, D, and E represent. Well, they just represent what we're talking about over here as a reminder. And I'll go to purple here. Irrational is A, rational is B, integers is C, whole numbers is D, and natural is E. So, which could be at the value of D? D would be a whole number. Which of those is a whole number? Only 0. Again, we're looking at A, B for rational, C for integers, D for whole numbers, and E for natural. So, which could not be the value of B? B is a rational number. So, which of these for number 9 is irrational? D, because that's the square root of a non-perfect square. Last one, number 10. What could be an example of what could be represented by A? Again, we're looking for an irrational number. And pi is the most famous irrational number. There you are. There's your explanation of yesterday's quiz. Hope that's helpful for you.